Well, hello and welcome back to week 15 Icarus update. I am here with Gail. Welcome, welcome.
Thank you for having me here.
Well, anytime, every week, you know this.
Oh yeah.
Excuse me, I'm terribly sorry. All right, so we're at week 15, and this looks like a really interesting one, actually. It's called The Hunt. All right.
Yeah. So after farming, we now have hunting.
That's always good news. Always good news. All right. The biggest thing here is right there. Improvements to hunting and animals, 2 new missions, new consumables gathered from cave worms, and bug fixes. So, without further ado, let's get right into it. All right, this week brings new improvements to hunting and animals and introduces a new group of consumables gathered from cave worms, along with 2 new missions. They are unearthed research and cryogenic research. Unearthed research unlocks the ability to harvest scales from cave worms and to turn them into a new bow, knife, and spear. There are also new consumables from existing animals, with giant steaks and fatty T-bones now dropping from hunted creatures. Your opinion?
I saw scale weapons. I immediately thought back to beta weekend. Kill the big ass boss worm, get scales, make weapons from them.
Yes. Yes, I do
Yay.
remember that, because you can't now that we're no longer in the beta, you can't actually get scales, or can you get scales
Exactly.
from the worm now?
I hope so. And then we have to compare them with the longbow, see how they compare. It's gonna be interesting.
Yeah, well, I
Definitely.
mean, I'm definitely, I'm definitely intrigued to try out this new bow,
Oh yeah.
and the knife. Not so much the spear, because I'm not really a spear character, but we'll
No.
see.
And don't forget the arrows. Because if I remember correctly, it's been a while, but if I remember correctly, you could also make scale arrows. Or is it a scale bow with, I don't know, we have to see in game.
We will indeed. We will indeed. All right, this picture underneath is looking kind of interesting. Um,
As if a worm pops up in the middle of the forest.
yeah,
That's gonna make it interesting.
yeah, it looks like there's more than one of them, because it looks like there's one on the left with one behind it, and maybe it's spitting its gunk out to the right behind the tree.
Yeah, I think so, because they're not straight lines, but they're like the wave lines.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know whether or not you have ever deliberately let them spit at you and looked at the poison and the path they took. But this is kind of what it looks like.
Yeah, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it has
And
a tree in the background, so it looks like it's in the middle of the forest. Will this now mean if we run through the forest, all of a sudden a worm will pop up and start spitting?
well, it kind of defeats the name cave worm, doesn't it?
Exactly. So we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, that might just be a teaser picture.
True. On the one side, I hope it, because traveling through the forest,
It's hard
if you
enough.
encounter bears,
Yes.
it's hard enough already. On the other hand, without bears, it's easy.
Well,
So yeah,
yeah, yeah.
relative easy. Let me put it correctly. Relative easy due to the experience we have gathered over the past couple of months. I mean, I told you this like last week or the week before. Back in the day, you had to go from one end of the map to the other. You were always on the lookout, like, oh, I hope I don't see a wolf, let alone a bear. And right now you're just running through the forest. Oh, there's a wolf, I'll kill it. Oh, there's a bear, and I have to be a bit careful.
Yeah.
Things do get easier in time.
Yeah.
So, maybe a new challenge.
Would be interesting, but we'll soon see. We'll be able to tell you whether or not that picture is indeed correct.
Yeah. But then
And
again, I hope they don't put them in the forest, everywhere in the forest, because new players will have a hard enough time already.
yes, yes, and OGs like you and which is original gamers, I believe. OGs like you and I will absolutely crap themselves if we come upon them during a run through the forest.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Just like we did when we first saw them in the caves to start with.
Yeah, it was like, what the F?
Yeah.
Okay, let's kill it.
What the hell is this, and why is it spitting at me?
Yeah. This wasn't here in the beta weekends.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then again, you learned how to handle them quickly enough, so.
Yeah, and it started by running the hell in the opposite direction.
Oh yeah, definitely. First time you run into the cave, because you do always run into the cave, go to the end,
Yeah.
and then all around you those worms spawn. Okay, good luck getting out.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Anyway, to carry on, we're getting diverted here. Animal
Yep.
harvesting. This sounds interesting. A range of new consumables from hunted prey add variety to the food pool, giving new buffs and balancing hunting with the improvements to farming from the past few updates. That's always good news.
Yep.
These meat groups are considered rare and will have lower drop rates but a higher yield in return. Does that
Okay.
not kind of defeat the purpose of a rare drop?
Like you don't get it guaranteed on each drop, but if you get it, you get quite a lot of it.
Yeah, here's hoping it
Does it
doesn't.
defeat?
Here's hoping it doesn't go bad
Spoil too fast?
as spoil too fast.
Yeah.
Like
The
they
prime
do.
meat spoils rather quickly.
Yes, I mean the prime meat spoils so damn quickly. If you're not carrying a campfire, you've got no chance of eating it.
Yep. Unless you manage to get a whole stack. Then only the first one goes bad, or the first two, but yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
We'll just have to try and see in game.
Yep. Okay, from elephants and mammoths, you can now harvest giant steaks.
Kind of makes sense, eh? The big animals give big steaks.
Yeah, I'd like to see you put that in your pocket.
True, but then again, I don't carry a 50 stack, an entire stack of coal in my pants either, usually.
No.
So, yeah.
Okay, fatty T-bones can now drop from various bears, and game meat drops from medium-sized prey such as deer and buffalo. Well, buffalo only gave you normal meat anyway.
Yeah, so now you get a chance of fatty T-bones. Now, I wonder, game meat drops from medium-sized prey such as deer and buffalo. I assume, by the way, buffalo is game meat, not fatty T-bones. Fatty T-bones can drop from various bears, the normal bears and polar bears. And game meat drops from medium-sized prey such as deer and buffalo, and most likely antelope. Which is a sort of sort of deer, I'd say. So yeah, I assume antelope as well.
Well, we'll soon find out.
More variety in the desert.
Yeah.
No longer just the one simple steak.
Yeah. There is also soft meat from baby deer. Aww. And rabbits. and stringy meat from predators such as wolves and jaguars. Jaguars? Wait a minute, I thought they were called cougars.
Cougars, lioness, now they call them jaguars. Well, actually, jaguars, in
Are
which mission
usually
is it?
black.
What one of the scan missions, the speedrun scanning missions, the first scan position to the south spawned a couple of jaguars in the forest biome.
Okay, well, I've never spotted that then. Okay.
Did we never do this speedrun where you have to place the scanner 3 times and scan?
Don't think so.
The first one gave you the jaguars, the second one the bears, and the third one the weather event. If I recall correctly, it's been a while since I did that mission.
It's been a long while since I've done that one. We'll have to find out.
But I do
Excuse
recall
me.
it's one scan mission in the northern forest, in the southern forest biome. It did spawn jaguars. It's like the only occurrence where I have seen jaguars in game.
Okay. Well, I thought they were called jaguars, but that might have been in the beta desert plains that we were doing.
I don't recall anymore. Too long ago.
Been that long ago. Also, look out for the new white meat, and we're not talking about humans here. White meat from boars, because they say that pigs are the other white meat. Something we'll be expanding to other species in the future. So we'll be getting white meat from boars and other animals, I take it?
I think so.
And last but not least, don't forget the boar bacon. Well, unless you're
definitely not the least. I want bacon. I'm gonna go on a boar hunt so hard.
Yeah, I reckon Gizmo will be really chuffed with that. He's a bacon freak. He is. It says I'm a heathen for liking crispy bacon, but there you go.
Let's put it this way, and it is very mildly said. I like bacon.
Oh yeah, I like bacon. I like bacon. All right. Next paragraph. Alongside new animal drops, we've added systems for drying out meats to create consumables that give different buffs and benefits. Okay, so like we're going to be able to make jerky.
If you scroll down a bit more, you'll actually see an image of a drying rack.
Yeah, that takes me into the next paragraph, which I'm not there yet. So we'll get there.
So, yeah.
Drying racks will allow you to turn different cuts of meat into more options than what a campfire or furnace would provide. Furnace? I thought we put
stove, the biofuel kitchen bin, what's it called? Biofuel furnace? Biofuel oven? The tier 4.
Yeah, but I thought we smelted metal in a furnace.
Yeah, I'm not sure anymore
furnace.
how the tier 4 thingy is called. Let me actually check it out. I should be able to. Biofuel stove. That's it.
Yeah, it's a biofuel stove. We smelt metals in furnaces.
I don't know. Maybe in Australia they call it a furnace as well. I don't know.
Maybe it should have said fireplace instead of furnace. Campfires or fireplace.
Or stove, the potbelly stove in the kitchen bench stove.
You have the fire pit, but definitely not a furnace.
The fire pit and the fireplace.
And then
you have the potbelly stove and the biofuel stove.
I mean,
so they should have put stove.
Yeah, if you tried to put a loaf of bread in the furnace in 3 seconds flat, you'd have a lump of coal.
Well, it's no longer raw. Let's put it that way.
Alrighty. Well, we're going to do the last sentence, which is check them all out when you hop in the game.
And we will. Don't you worry about that.
Which reminds me, before we leave the stream today, we must do a short section on last week's updates and whether or not they worked and if we had experienced problems with them, etc., because we haven't been doing that, and I keep saying we'll do that, so we must do that.
Okay.
All right? All right, scrolling down, there's a picture. That must be the new bowl.
Yeah.
That looks
Definitely looks
cool.
like it. Oh yeah.
Oh, man. Me likey. I want one.
The lines to the left of the arrow looks like they're glowy-ish, like exotics.
Yeah, just a little bit. And if I'm seeing correctly, it looks like there is a second person on the left, a cave worm on the floor. That blue and red looking glowy thing could possibly be a scale that is next to a solar panel. And
Yeah, but big
they're of,
scale from a small worm then.
yeah,
Oh no.
it would, that, well, yes,
And
okay.
also to the left, I'm not sure it is a person though.
It is a person. It's just a person in a plain suit with a helmet
Hmm.
standing in front of a reinforced door in a stone building. Actually,
Yeah, it
correction,
might be
it's an
me, but
interior.
I
It's
don't
an
see it.
interior door.
Yeah,
And
like I said, I don't see it, but it might be me. Actually, yeah, now you say it is.
yeah, okay. Scale weapons. Will you do the honors and take us through this one, please?
Sure. An exciting new addition to the game are the harvestable scales from cave worms, which introduce a whole new tier of weaponry. Scales will drop from slain cave worms, which can be used in crafting new weaponry similar to how bone weaponry is created. Bone weaponry, bone knife, in inventory, most likely. However, to unlock these new weapons, players first have to complete the new Unearthed Research mission, which unlocks the ability to forge these weapons. Like the scanner and extractor are unlocked by a certain mission. The same
Yes.
apparently goes for these new weapons.
Yep. It's also like the yeah. I think it's Payday Deep Vein Extraction, which gives us access to the radar, and the scanner and extractor.
I believe so. I don't recall exactly, but yeah.
Okay. These weapons have special benefits of causing poison affliction on impact, helping you down tougher foes over long chases. All right, but can't we already make poison arrows
There's a
using
difference.
spoilt
It's
food?
indeed poison arrows, yeah, but you have to craft them, especially like poison arrows. You first make a stone arrow, and then you craft them into poison arrows.
Yeah, with the use of bad spoiled food, which has been
Yeah.
crafted into poison paste.
Yeah, and now actually, now I'm reading this, I do remember there are no scale arrows. It is the scale bow, which gives ordinary arrows, poison effect.
Right. Okay.
So you have your stone arrow with a bit of alpha damage. You have your bone arrows, which do more alpha damage. You have your flint arrows, who do even more. And apparently, to this more alpha damage, uh, they will be adding poison effect, which is nice.
Oh, right. That sounds good to me. Oh, there we
Oh
go.
yeah,
There's the
to me as
drying.
well.
There's the drying rack.
Yeah.
Okay, we've decided to move away from the generic prime meat and expand into this creature group specific meats, each with their own unique buff. To further expand the way players can prepare their ideal foods before they set out exploring Icarus. More options? Sounds good to me.
Yeah, of
If they
course,
give
there's
us
a
more
whole
stamina, that's even better.
Yeah, with the whole farming, the hunting got a little bit to the bit to the background. Also, because you only had like you have just the meat. Period.
Yeah.
Good that they fixed that. I
Yeah,
like that.
that you can actually do something else with the meat other than just have it as meat. Although you do use raw meat when you're cooking meat pies.
Yeah.
But yes, it's good that we can do something else with the meat now.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that drying rack. Could you have a look and see what is required to build that?
Sure, I can do. I'm assuming this is gonna be a normal tech tree thingy one. Sick.
Well, I would assume so. I mean, it looks like it's made out of wood or
Wood and rope, maybe? I don't know.
sticks, wood, rope.
Drying rack, tier 1, wood, sticks and fiber. A rack for slowly drying various cuts of meat.
Yep, yep.
I can't see whether or not it is level locked, character level locked.
Well,
Because I'm way past the level already. But it is a tier 1. So
okay,
definitely in the first 5 levels you can already get them.
okay. All right.
So I
Uh,
assume we'll have to do a mission in order to unlock it, because I can't unlock it straight away.
yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, it's maybe one of those things that
One of the 2 new missions.
yeah, yeah. New missions. This week brings 2 fresh missions. One of these is the next step in an existing quest line, and the other introduces our newest tier of scale weaponry, which we've already discussed. Let's have a bit of a closer look at the missions then. Unearthed research. In this mission, the UDA is increasing their planetary research using brand new technology. You will be required to fill and activate a sample analyzer in order to research new recipes derived from the native resources on Icarus. You will be rewarded a copy of these new recipes for your troubles. I like how that's done.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like I said, basically like the scan for the exotic vein, and which then unlocks you the blueprints for the radar and the extractor, and also enables the drop on subsequent missions. The same for the one where you have to find the exotics node.
Yeah.
Once you have done that mission, it will unlock exotics nodes for all subsequent missions for that character.
Yeah.
So it looks like they did the same for these new recipes.
Cool. Sounds
I
good.
like.
Yeah. Okay, cryogenic research. In this mission, Sinutai has launched a new investigation to gather information about potential exotic mutation in animals living on Icarus. Okay. You will be required to retrieve a sample from specific preserved creatures. Due to the nature of the preservation, these specimens may prove difficult to access. That would suggest maybe Arctic or desert quests.
Well, not really. Let's see, where was his other? So, Unearth Research mission gives you the scale weapons. So, the cryogenic research might give you the meat.
Possible.
Yeah, so if Unearth Research unlocks the scale weaponry, cryogenic research then unlocks the whatchamacallit, the drying rack and the meat recipes.
Yeah. Okay.
That's what I think. I could be wrong, but
Well, it makes sense. Makes sense. Um,
Yeah.
but we'll soon find out when we do the mission. So now we're down to the change log. So let's get through this. Added drying rack. This is new processing structure that allows you to turn rare meat into its dried variant for preservation.
Yep.
Added
Well, we
new,
already discussed this one. Yeah.
yeah, added new meat types to replace prime meat. Those being stringy, white, fatty T-bone, giant steak, game meat, soft meat. They have a chance of dropping from all animals. Okay.
So to replace, huh?
Hmm.
That's interesting.
Yeah. Added bacon, a new type of meat that
Yeah.
always drops from boars. Ooh, oh,
Like I said, I'll be going out for some boar hunting. I can tell you that.
yeah, yeah. Well, boars never looked so good in my life.
Exactly.
All right, added new dried meats that will offer new brand new buffs. Dried meat such as dried white meat, which offers increased stamina, exposure resistance, and reduced food consumption. I like that.
Yeah.
I like all of that.
Yep.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, we will have to see how it's gonna work out and how it's gonna look like, but we're definitely gonna try.
Yep. Added two new missions, which we've already discussed, unearthed research and cryogenic research. And this is the interesting bit, plus a hardcore variant.
Yeah.
Oh, that'll be interesting.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Okay. Added new cave worm items, knife. There's your arrows, spear and bow. So you can make arrows out of them.
Yeah.
And they're unlocked by completing the unearthed mission. Added new poison sac dropped by cave worms and used in some of the above recipes. Poison arrows.
Skill weaponry, I would say. Yeah.
Yeah. Added new AI improvements such as more dynamic target selection from aggressive AI, and neutral buffalo now have a charge attack. Uh-oh.
Uh, yeah, we'll have to see what it exactly entails, obviously. But yeah.
Damn it. I like the fact that buffalo were neutral.
Except when they come charging at you. I do remember, huh?
Yes, yes. Scary bison. Yes. I haven't
Yeah,
released that yet, so the less we say about that, the better.
exactly.
Oh, it'll be something for the viewers stroke listeners to come back to.
Oh yeah, it will.
Okay.
It will.
Cave worms now drop cave worm remains mesh when killed. Okay, does that mean that we still get our arrows back? Or do we get our arrows back?
Uh, might stay the same. That's it's basically a game of chance whether or not you get it back. Well, actually, there is always a chance of the arrow breaking. Quite often, the cave worm took the arrow back with them into the ground, and he had to be very quickly jump to the place where they were in order to still grab your arrows.
And by doing that, you usually spawn more worms ahead of you.
True.
So, yeah, okay. Fixed rain reservoir filling while sheltered.
We have had it in the C2 cave.
Yeah, I was
Rain
just going to say the
reservoir was in
only,
the cave,
but it
and
only
it filled up.
filled. It only filled when it was raining. And if I'm
Uh,
honest, that's their fault because it's not supposed to rain inside the caves.
True, but it was sheltered.
Yeah.
It was no, that was a specific location where it was not sheltered. Actually, I don't know. We never tried to have it like inside a building, a rain reservoir, or underneath an overhanging building.
Yeah, we've never had a sheltered reservoir. It's always been outside because
Yeah,
kind kind of, you know, Like, it's common sense that if it's sheltered, it's not going to fill up. But apparently it did.
Yeah.
So we were missing out big time.
Apparently.
Okay. Crash. Fixed a crash that would occur when weather was updating.
When weather was updating.
Maybe that's
So
to
at the
do.
begin or end of a storm.
I don't know. I mean,
Not sure we have ever a crashing game during a weather change.
I don't think so. I don't think so.
So yeah.
Okay.
Well, hey, it's a good thing they fix crashes.
Oh yeah,
Unless,
yeah. Any kind of crashes, whether you've experienced it or not, fixing a crash is always good.
Yeah,
Okay.
definitely.
Crash. Fixed crash that could occur when rain was filling up the rain reservoir. Haven't experienced that.
No, luckily we haven't.
Mm-hmm.
Because that would be annoying to say the least.
Yeah. Improved concrete mix crafting times. This is a biggie. It
Yep,
was
it
25
definitely is.
seconds dry and 20 seconds wet. They've halved it at least. Now it's 10 seconds dry and 5 seconds wet,
Yep.
which is way, way better. It means you're not waiting, I don't know, half an hour to make 20 concrete bags.
Yeah, because
And if you've got to make
a
80
long time.
concrete, if you've got to make 80 concrete, I think that's for the fabricator. That's going to take
furnace.
a long time.
Yeah, it was an electric furnace which took 80 concrete, and yeah, it took a very long time to get all the concrete in.
Yeah, I mean that was a case of tell it to make all this concrete and go away and mine 2 caves, and it might be done by the time you come back.
And it was annoyingly long.
Well, it won't be anymore.
It's a good thing they fixed it.
Yeah. Oh, I like that one a lot. Okay, fixed some concrete building pieces not giving refund on construction. We've had
on
that
deconstruction.
We've had that with the stone buildings, haven't we? Where you've taken it apart and you've been one piece down.
No, we are talking about deconstruction, like and give a refund on deconstruction. So you have the piece, you destroy the piece, you get half the materials back.
Yeah.
This is the refund on deconstruction. So this is when you destroy the piece.
Okay. Oh yeah. What did I say? Did I say construction?
Yeah. Why do you want to destroy a concrete building piece then? Unless you're really short on materials.
Yeah.
Well, never encountered this bug actually. But...
Me neither. Never mind. Fixed some exotic deposits spawn locations in the following missions: Influx Construction, Dry Run Expedition, Spirit Level Survey, Uplift Bioresearch, Agriculture Hydroponics, which we did last week, Solid Metal Stockpile, Ramp Up Stockpile, Big Shot Stockpile, Advanced Order Stockpile, and Dust Up Extermination. So does
Influx Construction, for example, didn't used to have an exotic vein.
Well, maybe now they put one.
Yeah.
But then maybe the other, because the other ones do, as far as I know, the other ones do have exotics veins. So maybe they've added a vein?
Added or moved? I don't know.
Or
if they moved it, that's gonna be interesting if they moved it. If they added it, maybe so you can get to the 1,000, up to 1,000 exotics they were talking about last week or the week before patch notes.
That's exactly that's exactly where my brain went. Fixed the spawn deposit, the deposit spawn locations kind of indicates to me that, given the fact that they said 1 or 2 weeks ago that that you could get up to 1,000 exotics per mission, right? Up to is a huge leeway. I mean, you could
Yeah.
be talking about 500, you could be up to 999. But you're never, ever, ever. I mean, we did the Voyager recovery, I think it was 2 weeks ago. We did that mission because it gives you the entire map. There
Yeah.
was only 2 exotic spawn locations for deep veins, and we
Yeah, we got a
checked.
total of what, 600-700 tops?
Yeah, and we checked every single cave on the map, and we didn't come close to 800.
Nope, we did not.
So the only way to remedy that is you either make the exotic veins that are there give more, or you add more veins.
Yeah, but this also means that exotics will become more common.
Yeah, which may suggest that they might be coming up with some new I don't know, materials or stuff to put into the workshop that requires
Some new
exotics. Because
currency? Yeah, maybe, but
when you think about the fact that the top tier space pieces, like your knife and your pickaxe and your hammer and your spear, they all require purely exotics to get. That's to research
true,
and to craft. And if you're not
true.
getting that amount of exotics, like we weren't when
Uh,
we did it, you have to grind for exotics, which is fun. Don't get me wrong.
exactly, you have to grind for it. But if it becomes more common, then yeah, what's the use of putting exotics into the game if they will become about as common as the credits?
Yeah. Well, it'll certainly be an interesting one to find out. That's for sure.
Yeah, my thoughts are a bit divided about this one. On the one hand, sure, it's easier getting exotics, yes, but they kind of lose their value if they become too easy to get by.
That's true. But if that's the case, then they shouldn't have stated you could get up to 1,000, because people are going to desperately try to get 1,000, and right now it's just not possible. Period.
You need 3 veins, roll high on all 3 veins,
Yes,
very
exactly.
high, and find quite a few nodes still.
Yes, yes.
And then maybe including exotics rewards for the mission itself, you could get up to the 1,000. But
Yeah,
anyway, yeah, I'm a bit divided about this one. But hey, we
we'll
will
see.
see.
We will see. We will definitely see. Removed
Yes.
incorrect slot information from fridge description. Fixed weight being only 20 grams.
I never
I
checked
never
how
noticed.
much it weighed.
I never picked up the fridge, so I never noticed how heavy it was.
So basically, 2 things: incorrect slot information from the description, like it said you have 20 slots, but it had 25 or the other way around, something like that, I reckon. And the weight fixed, was it the displayed weight or the actual weight? I
Don't
don't
know.
know. But hey,
They fixed it.
they made it more in line with so either the description in line with the information or the information with the description. Both is good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a 20 grams fridge, that's a very light one.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind a 20-gram fridge. I could just whip out of my wallet anytime I wanted to cool something down.
They didn't say anything about the size, only the weight.
Well, yeah, but I mean, if Anyway, let's just not go there.
You'll be juggling with fridges, and everyone thinks you're very strong, but they only weigh 20 grams. Yes.
Yeah, I can do that. I'll go with that. Okay. Fixed pistols not being repairable. Well, I don't have a gunslinger anyway, so it makes no odds to me. And given the fact that pistols are not particularly effective, I will not be making any anytime soon.
No, me neither. I'm not gonna make a pistol.
So,
If you
but
can make the pistol, you can make the gun. I mean, use your talent points for a gun instead of a pistol, or your blueprint points, sorry, and make the gun. Bolt action does way more damage than a pistol. Pistol might be slightly faster in reload, but I don't think it'll weigh up to the increased damage from the bolt action rifle if you are willing to, and if you're able to like stay calm and kill the bear. Accept the fact that you might get hit, but make sure you kill the bear.
well, yeah, because if you don't, you're kind of dead.
Yeah.
But the point is that apparently you couldn't repair them, so it's an awful lot cheaper to be able to repair it than it is to craft a new.
Oh, true. And hey, it should have been repairable from the get-go, so it's a good thing they fixed that.
Yeah. Okay. Fixed issue where some foliage would be invisible after loading a new area. Well, I have my foliage turned to low anyway, so that really, I don't think that affects me.
No, but still, it's invisible. You can't pick up the fiber you need when you come back from the Arctic.
True.
So a good thing they fixed it.
Yep. Yep. Fixed cave entrance. Oh, I'll have to have a look at the Icarus Intel map now. Fixed cave entrance blocker in F11 not being fully accessible.
So there's the cave in the Arctic connecting to the two desert caves.
Oh, right. Okay.
You know, this big, enormous caves in the Arctic, in the desert, connected to one another.
Yes.
And one branching off towards the Arctic. Foxtrot 11 is the Arctic part.
Okay. Okay. Removed in-world tooltip user interface window effect, which could appear distorted on some configurations.
So you hover over something and then it pops up with the tooltip, which in some configurations apparently became distorted.
Sounds
so a
like
cosmetic change, but hey, it will look way better for the people who had this issue.
Yeah.
Good to fix it.
Good. Yep. Fixed an exploit where in the loadout menu, more than 15 items could be stacked in the dropship cargo inventory.
Again, when are you ever gonna use 15? I mean, I have trouble filling up 15 slots already. I'm like, what I'm gonna take? I don't need no 3 O2 tanks. I don't need no 5 canteens.
But they're talking about
sure, I'll bring down a crate,
hang on,
cause
hang
why
on.
not? I have to.
Hang on, they're talking about the dropship cargo inventory.
In the loadout menu. So.
Oh, for the sorry,
side.
I got a bit confused. Sorry. Yeah. Well, I could never put. I've never been able to stack items in my inventory to start with, so I don't. I have trouble
apparently
on.
somehow it was possible, but again, like I said, when are you ever gonna take that much down? What are you gonna take down? 5 axes, 7 pickaxes, 3 bows. I mean, why? Why would you?
Yeah, well, like I said, I've never been able to stack stuff in my inventory anyway. So, fixed multiple cases where subtitled dialogue did not match the audio. I have seen that.
Wasn't this in last week's patch notes as well, or the one before?
I'm not. No, can't remember.
Yeah, we were talking about it as well, where Saul said something else than the subtitles said.
Oh, yes, I do remember now, because at that point I said to you, and even when he says it twice, because I have that on
Yeah,
video.
yeah.
So watchers and
So
listeners will have to stay tuned to the channel to see where that comes in. I can tell you it'll be in the funnies, fails, and F-ups. So look out for that. Okay, fixed some cases where overflow bags could spawn under the terrain or in other objects. Now, that would be
never
applicable.
had it myself, but I have seen this in Discord. People complaining about this. I died and my body was inside a rock, so I unstuck, and now my loot bag is inside the rock or inside a mountain or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
So I'm very glad I fixed this.
Yeah.
Because it's a huge setback for people.
Well,
You basically
that
lose everything.
yeah. Well, that might have been what happened to. Was it you and Snake Eyes at the end of the last mission where you died and then you lost items, but you didn't lose like spacesuit or anything?
Might, I don't know. We did hit the ground hard.
Yes. So what I'm saying is that the overflow bags with the stuff that you lost might have
But
might have spawned underneath the visible map.
then it should have been a second, like the overflow death bag. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
maybe.
Okay.
So luckily,
Fixed.
neither of us lost any space stuff, and it was the end of the mission already anyway, so it wasn't an issue. But
Yeah.
yeah, I can see how this would be
Problematic.
problematic. Yeah.
Okay, fixed various map issues such as some incorrect cave voxel placements and floating trees in desert. Well, we did have that one because I have screenshots of a floating tree and we all ran underneath it and we looked up through it and it
Yeah.
was hollow.
Like, hey, it's a hollow tree. Yeah.
Yep. So you'll have to stay tuned for that clip coming out as well. And by the way, if you're enjoying the content, please boop the like button and leave us a comment below. Thanks very much. Added one more cave to the southeast corner of the map.
Yeah, must be Oscar 13 or Oscar 14 in the southern Arctic.
Southern Arctic. Yeah, that sounds
I
about right.
reckon there.
Yep.
I reckon on the edge of Oscar 13, Oscar 14 at the east side, it is a. It looks like a appropriate place for a cave.
Yeah. Well, that's good news. More caves, more resources. We like that.
Even more resources, yes.
Yeah. Fixed number of survey locations from 3 to 2 in the descriptions for spirit level standard and hardcore missions. Okay. I will be honest and say I hadn't really noticed.
No.
But they fixed it.
So the description said 3, but you actually had to do 2? Okay.
All right.
Spirit level
I thought there were 3 survey levels, survey locations anyway.
Yeah, me too.
Because we've done that mission. I'm pretty sure there was 3 locations, unless they've changed the number of locations, therefore changed the description. But well, you know what that says to me? That says we're just going to have a look at the mission and see what happens.
Yeah.
Fixed some cases where the exotics that were placed in the dropship did not appear in the station upon completion.
Haven't had it myself. However, once again, Discord, I've heard people complain about it. Like, I completed the mission and it doesn't show the exotics we mined. And especially if you have like everything in your dropship cargo. So you checked in 200 exotics in your dropship cargo, and you come back up and there's none.
Yeah, that sucks. I don't care who
Yeah,
you are, that's going to suck.
exactly.
Yeah. Fixed an issue with the camera position when interacting with the generator was incorrect. Again, I can't.
Not sure what I mean with incorrect though.
Well, like maybe like you placed it sitting in front of you, facing you, and when you accessed it, it actually took you around the back side of it. I don't know, but that's what it
Yeah,
tells
but
me.
it's always the same from which angle, whichever angle you access it. You always turn around and face it the front side.
Well, now they've changed it. So being our generator guy, you'll be the one to tell us what's different about that one.
Yeah, I have to see.
Okay, fixed an issue where some rock and foliage collisions weren't working correctly. Yes.
Ah, the invisible walls.
Um, mm, I actually think that it's more to do with. Do you remember several weeks? I think on the first video I did about the weekly update, which we did, they had mentioned where they had prevented the foliage or stopped the foliage from preventing
Okay.
you mining a rock or underneath it. Well, I've still had that happen, so maybe that's to do with that.
Yeah, maybe. But then
Possible.
again, why rock collisions weren't working properly? For
Hmm.
me, that says invisible wall.
Or maybe it's to do with the fact that constantly find wheat inside rocks.
Yeah, I don't think that's it, to be honest. It might be, but let's see.
Okay.
Well, we'll
We'll
see.
find out. We'll find out. Fixed an issue where
Maybe.
windows and doors were using incorrect sign for their position.
Actually, never listen when I place them. I just place them. So I have no idea whether or not it was correct or an incorrect sound,
Well,
or a different sound at all, whatever.
might just be to do with the sound of opening and closing it rather than actually putting it down.
Yeah, I don't know.
Don't know. We'll find out.
You place a window to the left and you hear it to the right. I don't know. Oh well.
Added limits to how many trees can be falling over during a storm at one time to address performance implications. Okay, so
Yeah,
we could hide in a rock and watch a dozen trees fall around our ears.
yeah. So they limited the number of trees falling over during one storm, or during like simultaneously falling over. Because yeah, I can understand it will cost a bit of performance. Because the computer has to calculate starting position, falling direction, and possible impact.
Yeah, yeah,
Then again, it shouldn't be too much of an additional calculation to do. But hey, every performance improvement is a good improvement.
yes, yes. Fixed an issue where some buildings were not reloading when built above caves.
Above caves, like when can you do this? Like the N10 cave comes from a cave in a cliff face you can build on top of the cliff. We never had the issue where it wasn't properly reloading. I have seen questions from people like, "Hey, I come back to my basement, our base is gone. All I see are the overflow bags for all the benches I placed. Maybe they had put it on top of a cave. I don't know. That's a good one. I don't recall having seen that question. Like, where exactly did you build it? Did you, by any chance, build it on top of a cave? I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. Oh well. Okay, next. This might be applicable to the one above it. Fixed an issue where deployables would sometimes disappear until reload.
Yeah.
So that sounds like it's applicable to the one we've just, the one above it.
Kind of related, because it is both on reloading. But deployables, these are the actual benches.
Yeah.
So your base is still there, but half your benches is gone until you log off, log on, and then the benches are back.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Fixed an issue where swimming animations would be distorted based on what was equipped, which means no more stringing out your bow when swimming with it in hand.
I don't know. Based on what was equipped. Well, I actually always swim with the bow out, so I wouldn't know. I wouldn't really call it distorted. It's like not realistic, sure. But it's not distorted.
Oh, well, they fixed another issue, so that's a good one. Fixed an issue where the previous radar scan was not visible upon rejoining a prospect. Good.
Now I wonder, because we seen if you do a scan, it's on the map.
Yes.
Then we all stop, and then the next time we all start, the scans are gone.
Yes.
Has that been fixed, or is this if I, for example, keep playing, you log off and for dinner, and after dinner you come back in. For you, the scans are gone, but for me, they're still visible. We never actually tested that, I think.
No.
Because we usually stop at the same time. So it's going to be hard to test this because we didn't know this. Had we known, we could have tested this.
Well, I think it's to do with the first one. I think it's to do with the fact that, you know, we'd done a scan, then we logged out for the night. We came back in the following day, and the scan locations and results were gone. So I'm hoping now that if we do a scan, the results will stay on the map. Because if you remember, we always had to make sure we'd got a screenshot, and that we posted that back into the group chat, the text part of the group chat, so that everybody knows where the scans were and what the results was.
Yeah. I do hope indeed that this is like stays after log off, log on.
Yes,
definitely
for
hope
sure.
it.
I would
It
really
be
like
a very,
it if that
very
was the
good
case.
quality of life improvement.
Yeah, for sure. Excuse me, I've got a bit of a runny nose here. So I'm going to ask you to do the next couple while I blow my nose. Excuse me.
Sure. Fix an issue where valid fuel could be deleted from a device's inventory if an invalid fuel was present in the fuel slot, such as sulfur. If an invalid fuel was present and you add valid fuel, so like you have a furnace, you check sulfur in the fuel slot. Can you even do so? And then when you want to swap it out with wood or coal, which you drag directly to the fuel slot without taking the sulfur out first, it kept the sulfur but got rid of the wood or coal? No.
I'm not familiar with that.
Never tried to use sulfur as a fuel in anything other than the oxide sulfur.
Yeah, well, it's just putting anything in the fuel slot that is not valid. Like for example, for example, we use campfires for storage sometimes when we're doing caves. We'll put them outside the caves so that we've got an overflow storage facility. That means we don't need to go in and fight the cave worms again. But what this is saying to me is that if you put, say, for example, iron ore into the fuel slot of a campfire because you want to use it for storage, that it would then delete that from...
Well, there are a couple of variables here. Sulfur is a fuel, but only for the oxide sulfur.
Yes, but that's only being used as an example of an invalid fuel.
Is it, or are they talking about sulfur as an invalid fuel? Because I'm not even sure you can put anything which is not burnable, into the fuel slot of anything. I'd have to check, like a campfire. Can you chuck meat in the fuel slot? Or will it plain refuse to do so? Because meat is no fuel. I know for a fact with the ores, if you control click, it will never fill the fuel slot with it.
Yeah.
Not with ores, it doesn't.
No.
So yeah, we have to see. Can you use a non-fuel? Can you even place it into a fuel slot? No.
Okay.
Anyway.
Added unique audio for falling burnt trees. Well,
falling is what caught my attention. They didn't fall. They just stood up upright and they turned into the charcoal tree, still upright.
Yeah. Okay.
But they never fell over. Does this mean they added this? Burning trees falling? And if so, that would mean the forest fires could spread way quicker.
Well, we'll find
we'll
out.
Have to see.
Excuse me, we'll find out. Fixed an issue where the level cap of 50 wasn't being reflected in Steam-rich presence.
Steam-rich presence? Is
so
it in your friends list?
Yeah, when you're looking at your friends list, like I could tell you that you were level 139 and you could tell me I was level 96 or whatever it was.
Yeah.
So now that should always read 50.
Ah, too bad. Now I can't see my real hidden level anymore.
Well.
I can always try and calculate it, but who cares? 50 is the cap anyway.
Best of luck with that. Fix not being able to refund a talent point if you tried to refund one of the multiple unlocked prerequisites.
This I have not encountered this problem.
Me neither.
You could go back all the way to level 1, but if it was a prerequisite for another talent you unlocked, you could not take out the last one.
Yeah.
Because then you break the chain.
Yes.
The talent chain.
Yes.
So I was always able to go back to the first level. So I didn't have this issue. And a chain shouldn't be able to be broken anyway.
Yeah, well, I mean, I've only actually changed maybe 2 or 3 talent points.
What this could be, depending on how you read this, if you try to refund one of multiple unlocked prerequisites, the double shackle, you know?
Yeah.
If there are 2 routes to a underlying talent, and you have put talent points in both, you were not able to fully refund one of the 2 routes. Maybe they fixed that. And that's going to be nice, because it'll save you a couple of respec points.
Yes. Yes. Well,
let me see. Can I test this?
I haven't actually tried any of that, so we've only got 1, 2, 3, 4. We've only got 5 to go, so shall we crack on? Fixed cave worm not taking critical hit damage. Now that we did notice, especially with the last mission that we did last week. You would definitely have to hit the cave worms with the same amount of arrows, but the damage that we did, the numbers were lower, and we certainly didn't get any critical hits at all. I definitely know that Snake Eyes experienced this when he was caving for the first one, for the first cave last time, and he said, "Are we doing more damage, or have they got less health?"
we do less damage. They have less health. However, the critical hit was gone.
Yes. Yes.
So they fixed the critical hit thing. That's good.
Yeah.
By the way, coming back to the refund talent points, I just spent a couple of respec points. Yes, they fixed if you have 2 talent points leading into an underlying talent, so 2 routes leading into an underlying talent. Previously, you could not undo one of the routes completely. Now you can.
Good. Well, at least now we know. At least now we know.
Yeah. Like
Cool.
I said, I still have talent points left, so why not use them?
Yeah.
It's all for science.
Everything's all for science. The Icarus is science. Okay. Yep. Filled extractor drilling animation not looping correctly. That might be to do with the actual movement of the drill bit itself, because it doesn't move, period.
This is the extractor. This is not a deep drill. This is extractor. And the animation not looping correctly means there is this one animation which is being played over and over and over. And if they made it correct, you can't see where the one loop starts and the next, and the one loop stops and the next loop starts.
Oh, okay.
Apparently, they didn't loop correctly, so apparently there was a tiny shift in pixels where you could say, "Hey, the animation loop stopped and the next one started." I never looked at the extractor in that detail, but I know there are people who do.
Well, it wouldn't be an issue if people didn't. Removed hidden mesh from Arctic exotic deposits, causing bad collisions.
We never had an issue mining the exotic deposits in the Arctic, did we?
Not that I can recall, with exception to the appearance of polar bears.
Yeah, but that didn't. Well, it was a bad collision, but it was between us and the polar bear. But yeah, maybe there were people who had issues there. I don't know. Maybe unable to mine the entire exotic deposit.
Possibly.
To mine the last spec.
Possibly.
I would be annoyed as well. You finally find one and then you can't completely mine one. It's already a tad annoying when it comes to ores, let alone exotics.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay, this is a good one for us gardeners. Penultimate one here. Made water pump automatically turn on when connected to active power network. Yes. Yep. Because the water pump has to be in water.
It's a nice quality of life improvement.
Right. And that then means that you don't need to go swimming because you want to go and you have to go and turn the thing on.
You can put it on the edge of a lake, so you don't have to swim. However, you have to keep in mind every time you log into the prospect, or if you swap out the biofuel can or whatever, basically every interruption in your power network, if you use solar panels every morning, every interruption in the power network, you had to go to your pump and manually activate it again.
Yeah.
And if you forgot, it means your crops don't get no water, your benches don't get no water.
Yeah. Well, that's always a good thing. That's a good fix. And last but not least, fix the issue where players could not manually water crops.
They couldn't? That's a big one.
I think I had that very, very early on, like within the first 24 hours of the gardening drop. I had my canteen in my hotbar. I had it picked, and then I couldn't actually use my secondary fire button to water the crops because it just wouldn't work. But then
this is a huge fix then, because without water they reduced the growth quite a bit without water.
Yes.
It's not that they increased the growth speed with with water. No, they decrease it without.
Yes.
If you were unable to actually water the plants, it means you have a huge speed penalty, current
Yes.
speed penalty. So they fix this. That's very good news.
Yeah, so people had to be able to water the plants until such point as they got to the level of getting the crop plots ready, getting the water pump done, and the hosing
But
and all of
don't
this.
forget, we're talking about iron crop plots, because the wooden ones you can't connect to the water network.
Yes, but in that case, you have to manually water them. So
Exactly.
if your secondary fire button isn't working, you can't grow the plots. Well, you can grow the crops, but albeit
Very
extremely
slowly.
slowly.
Yeah. So it's a good thing they fixed that. I like it.
Yes, yes, it is a good thing that they fixed that. Very good thing that they fixed.
Yeah.
Okay, before we leave today, we're going to actually talk about some of the updates that we had last week, if we can remember any.
Uh,
and
well, you can
whether or
always
not they
remember
did
stuff.
and whether or not they did actually get them fixed and or not, as the case may or may not be. Gao, can you think of any changes that have happened in the last week that are indicative of the fixes that we went through?
We have had a couple of times now again when we were like, didn't I fix this last week or the week before?
Yeah. One thing I
So yeah,
can
those.
remember was when we finished the latest mission on Wednesday night, or yeah, Wednesday night.
Mhm.
Um, and you all of a sudden said, "Oh my gosh, I can see everybody on the map. That everybody's got the correct
Ah, yeah,
colours, and I can see everybody's names."
yeah, indeed. The map fixes for everyone except host. Looks like they fixed it now, or at least it was fixed for me last Wednesday.
Yes, but that's
Now
nearly it.
I'm
That's
wondering, was it?
actually the reality is that when they said that they had fixed that last week, they didn't actually fix it until the very end of that week, because we were finishing the mission on the Wednesday, so that we had a clear gap between us finishing and the next weekly update dropping, so that it didn't create any issues with finishing the mission, which is one of the problems that we've had a couple of times now.
Well, we've had it once, and ever since we made darn sure we were not halfway a mission anymore during an update.
Yes, and actually, the most recent point that we had was actually 2 weeks ago, because we had the weekly update on the Friday, and then 2 days later they put out an urgent patch. And at that
Yeah,
point, we were 2 days into the mission. And after that patch came through, our mission messed up. We actually completed the mission because
true.
it was the latest stockpile one. We saw and witnessed the dropship take off, and yet it didn't actually give us the
Yeah,
mission progression.
true.
So we ended up being forced to leave the planet, go back to the station without having completed the game, the mission, but we did get all of the exotics.
Yeah,
Which is why we did the thing in the first place. so
exactly.
so yeah, there have been some very big fixes, some not so big.
It's interesting because last week, indeed, the whole player color thingy on the map was in the patch notes. They fixed it, But somehow, like first half of the week, it was still not fixed for me, and all of a sudden it was fixed without a client side. Let's emphasize client side update. So maybe they have done some server side updates there.
Oh, it's possible. I mean, even for me, there was a couple of times, like in the first 3 days after the drop after the patch dropped, that I would look at my map and I wouldn't actually know who was who because there was maybe one player with a white color and no name.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Well,
that's one
as
that
long
they
as only
definitely.
one player, then you know the one you are missing is
Yes,
the white one without name.
yes,
However, for me as host, everyone was white without name.
yes,
So,
and yet
yeah,
there
you
were.
could say who was who. I could not.
Do you remember during that week we also had an instance where we had one red player, one blue player, and two white players, and the white
Hmm.
players were myself and Gizmo,
Hmm.
and you and Snake Eyes were you being host, you were red, and Snake Eyes were blue, and Giz and I were both white, and then Snake Eyes said, "Well, listen, why don't we all put our markers on the map and see if they
Hmm.
come out the proper colours?" And sure enough, I was green and Gizmo was yellow. But that only
Yeah, but
comes up when we put a marker on the map because it doesn't show
yeah,
up on the name. But again,
true. But this was generic indeed. That they fixed the markers before the player icons.
yes, yes. But there again, it's just that's a noticeable change. The other thing that they'd said is they changed the sound of the metal pickaxes. They did. Definitely
Yeah,
remember that sounding different. So the
yeah,
titanium pickaxe and the platinum pickaxe actually now sound a bit more metallic.
yeah. Definitely a different sound from the stone one.
Yeah. Yeah, which is good. It makes all the difference. They also said they changed the some of the audio for the hammer, so when you're repairing stuff, they sound different. Definitely do.
And they do.
They
I
definitely do.
can attest to that.
They definitely do. Um, yeah, the gardening updates was huge, and
Yeah.
we've been testing with things with fertilizers and the water and non-water, and we've done lots of tests and comparisons and things. For example, Snake Eyes did a test where he had half a dozen just ordinary wooden boxes on the floor growing crops, and he was trying to find out the difference between just one splash of water, several splashes of water, and half a canteen full of water with the same crop. And the reality is, it makes absolutely not a jot of difference at all. As long as it's wet, it's fine.
Yeah.
It doesn't make a difference to the yield. Being watered, it does make a difference to the speed of the crop's growth. But wet is wet and dry is dry. And if it's dry, it's slow. And if it's wet, it's fast.
Yeah.
So there you go. Um, Another one is I did a test with the fertilizers. Um, you can stack the fertilizers, obviously, in order to get you not risk running out of fertilizer before the crop is fully grown.
Yeah.
But it and I also found out that different crops use different amounts of fertilizer. Believe it or not. For example, you can get 1.5 growth of crops, 1.5 harvests of berries per fertilizer bag, whereas you might only get just like 3/4 of a growth from a squash for one fertilizer bag, for example. So you've
Yeah.
got to keep an eye on what vegetables and fruits require how much fertilizer it uses. Now, we haven't yet crafted the big bad fertilizer, the albeit, and the reason for that is because it has
I'm not going to either.
No, it has a debuff. Right? We don't want fertilizer that gives us a debuff. Fertilizer is supposed to help. It's supposed to be good for the crops.
Let's explain this a bit more in detail.
Please do.
There are two. So you have your base fertilizer, which you make in the wooden composter.
Correct.
You can then take the standard fertilizer and use him in the alchemy bench to make two different types of, let's call them more advanced fertilizers. However, where the standard fertilizer buffs both growth, the growth time and the yield by a bit, the advanced ones, the one advanced one increases the yield but decreases the growth speed. The other one decreases the yield but increases the speed. So if you are like, I need a lot of it and it's fine if it takes a bit longer, you can use advanced fertilizer. If you're like, I need it now a bit, but I need it now more quick, you can use the advanced fertilizer. But in every other situation, you're better off with the standard fertilizer.
Yes, because it gives you both speed
if you need a lot,
and yield.
Yeah. Now, if you need a lot, you want both speed and yield. Sure, you can get more yield, but at a lower speed. But then you could as well do multiple harvests, and you will still have a lot.
Yes. Now, the downside to using the basic fertilizer or the, not the hydroponic crop plots, the iron ones. The iron ones you can connect to water. The wooden ones you can't. And the hydroponics are obviously hydro, water. So, yeah. The thing about that, though, is the fact that the iron ones are best, obviously, because they hook up to the water. But don't forget that if you don't want to run out of the fertilizer, you must stack at least 2 in there.
Yeah.
For your first growth, your first harvest. After that, because that gives you a bulk amount, it means then that you don't necessarily have to rely on the fertilizer unless you're wanting specific lots and lots and lots of one specific thing. I've also noticed that when it comes down to the wooden composter, which makes the the basic fertilizer, you can put stacks of food in there. Fantastic. It does make the food rot quicker, for sure.
Yeah.
But it only does one at a time. So if you put a stack of 20 in there, it's only ever going to take off the top of the list.
It's even worse. If you split this into 4 stacks of 5, as soon as the top one of each stack spoils, you will have 4 spoiled plants. However, the remaining 16 will be in one single stack.
Yes. So
if it would be in multiple, if it was to stay in multiple stacks, it would have been better. But the fact that it stacks them all into one stack, that's very annoying, because now you have to constantly split the stacks again in the with a composter.
As the gardener, or one of the 2 gardeners of the group, I actually found myself spending more time trying to make the fertilizer than doing anything else. And the reason for that is, excuse me while I clear my throat, hang on. Sorry about that. One of the things that I found was, because of the fact that the fertilizer actually is better at doing you pack, let me try this again. You actually single out the berries, and you use your left alt button, and you pick one single one, and you place it in each and every one of the slots. By the time you filled up one full composter full of that, let's just say, because we have two running exactly for this reason, you fill out one with a single load of berries in it, so that all of the slots have a single berry in it. Then you move over to number two. By the time you've actually filled those slots with single berries, the first one's done. So
Yeah.
you go back to the first one and you single out those berries, and you fill the slots with single berries, and by the time you've done that, the first one's done.
Yeah.
And
So
so you're
you
just
basically
yo-yoing.
full-time job.
Yeah, you're yo-yoing between one fertilizer, one composter, and the second wooden composter, so that you can single out all these berries. It's a ridiculous time waster, to the point where
Yep.
if you're making food fertilizer, you don't do anything else until you run out of resources to put in the blooming thing.
Yep. Like I said, it's a full-time job. And if the multiple stacks would not be combined into one stack after the top item spoils, that would be such a difference.
Yeah, I mean,
That would save you a lot of time. So definitely something for future upvote.
definitely. Okay. Anything else you'd like to add to today's stream? Any more updates that you found worked, didn't work?
Not really. We did check last week's thing where it said if you change your ammo type, it'll be there was this exploit where you switch ammo type from the one arrow type to the other one. The one you unload will go to the host. They finally fixed it.
Yes, they did indeed fix that. They did indeed fix that.
It's a good thing. However, I was a tad sad because hey, it was a nice exploit to use.
I was completely bummed about that, and only because of the fact that bug actually physically and literally saved our backsides in a mission.
Yep.
Because we were down in the southern Arctic, you and me, and Gizmo and Snake Eyes were at the base, and we had killed so many polar bears that we had used we took a spare bow and, like, I don't know, was it like 2 full stacks of arrows or something? And we both broke the first bow, the long bow. We were using the second, and then we ran out of arrows.
Yeah.
And we couldn't do anything because we're both up poles, and there's a polar bear beneath us. And and you shouted out to Snake Eyes, "I need arrows immediately. Send me some arrows." And he just sat there for like 5 minutes, just filtering arrows through to you, and you're putting them into the polar bear until he was done. And then when he was down, you're like, right, okay, I don't need any more arrows because the bear is down and we're coming home.
Yeah, I mean, we also had this in which mission was it? Where there was an exotic vein in the northern Arctic.
Mm-hmm.
And you were in the southern Arctic, and I went up to the so you were in the southern forest, and I went up to the northern Arctic to mine the exotics there, and I ran out of fiber. So I asked you to send me some stone arrows, so I could break them down and get the fiber back. So I could, I believe I needed it to make a campfire.
Yes, that was it. Yes.
Yeah, so also very good use of this exploit was the advanced order stockpile mission.
Oh yes. So I was a bit bummed about the fact that they fixed that, but we
definitely made use of this exploit.
Oh hell yeah!
But yeah, it's a good thing that fix it because it's an exploit. Yeah, you need to fix the exploits.
Yes,
but I was
definitely
fixed it because we were actually making use of it ever so often.
Yes. Yes. Well,
But yeah, primarily, I'm glad I fixed it.
yes, I did notice that, when I was swapping out my arrows and it was the second half of this week, let's be honest. It was only the second half of the week where they got that
True.
fixed, but they
Yeah.
did get it fixed.
Yeah.
And I noticed it had been fixed because I was, how you have your little ammo indicator down on the bottom
Yeah.
left of your screen, whether it's a rifle or a longbow. I would notice that
On the right. Yeah.
when I swapped from bone to flint, it would tell me I had put a flint arrow back into my inventory.
Yeah.
And
Once
you
again, by the way, this
and
was
you
a
and
server
you
side fix.
and you weren't saying, "Hey, somebody just give me an arrow."
Yeah. True. But like with the player icon on the map, this was a server-side fix because there was no client-side fix this week, past week. So this has been fixed on server-side somehow,
Yes.
somewhere.
Yes. But it was a bug. It was exploited, and now it has been fixed. So good on the
Exactly.
team is what I say. Good on the team.
Yeah. But
You
yeah,
know.
that's about all I know. I can recall at this moment about last week's patch note fixes which weren't fixed or weren't fixed straight away.
Yes.
As for the
Yes.
ones for today, well, we'll have to test them all out. And if I
That we will.
remember, I'll keep a list of points which have not been fixed or fixed proper,
Yes, for
if I
sure.
recall. No promises though, so with a bit of luck, I will recall.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm looking forward to the drying rack. I'm really looking forward to that new bow. And I'm going to be interested in having a look at this new dried meat stuff that they've got going on now.
Yeah.
So
First, I want to do the unearthed research. The unearthed research, sorry, for the weapons.
yes. Yes. So
And after that, we'll do the cryogenic research.
yes, and we will
Neat.
absolutely looking forward to that. Looking forward to it. All right. Well, that's basically it from us for this week. That was week 15. It was called The Hunt. I'm Echo 225 Dolfinho. You've been here with me and Gao. And for right now, it's good night from me.
And good night from her.
We'll catch you on the next one. Thanks very much, guys. Night night. Bye.